I trust gambling sponsors in esports to be ethical as much as I trust an Italian to give me good food. And when your food comes down to squeezing olives and feet mashed grapes, I don't think we're getting a good meal. And as a brown man and as part historically of the Spice Road, I think we got some better food than pasta. Now, look, as far as my hate for Italian food aside, I really wanted to talk about the epidemic of gambling in the modern era. Right now, in its recency, the biggest shift that we've had in gambling is the ability for Riot Games to have their esports be sponsored and have a bigger control on the gambling industry and have them as a sponsor for their individual games, their tournaments, and gaming at large. This is a whole new world, and I think it opens up a world of floodgates because largely, we've had the transformation of gambling in America be a big tidal wave of change where we've had sports gambling, especially in the United States, come onto the scene in a big way. And largely it's due to a loophole and how, the rules have already been made to try and manage online gambling. But again, the way these sports betting companies get around them is kind of scummy in its own way. These large companies have made Americans lose billions of dollars per year. And honestly, as a male myself, I have a deep-rooted attachment to this because of how I personally believe it leads to a big negative pipeline for a lot of young male impressionable people out there. Gambling in itself, many people can say, I gamble a little bit, I get in, I get out. Some people have the self-control for it. But when it comes to a gaming lens, we already see the gotcha systems and many mobile games already taking us over. We already talk about the predatory purchasing models that many mobile games have, where when you go to purchase something through their online currency that you take your money and transform into, you'll notice some items are slightly less than the amount that you are forced to purchase. You can't ever purchase exactly the amount that you need, so you're left over, and it makes you feel like, if I just purchase a little bit more, I can then cover the cost of something else, and it gets you to purchase more. And in many similar ways, this can be attributed to that FOMO, that addiction that people have to, the things that are meant to be in order or chasing a new win. That dopamine center that they are trying to light up in many ways is similar to that of gambling. And when it comes to sports betting at large, it feels like today when you head to a bar, or you just head to a party or a new gathering with men involved, at least, I don't know the demographics when it comes to women because I haven't come across women that sports bet. But when you get into these circles with men, it feels like the average conversation, someone in that circle is talking about their latest crazy parlay that's going to make them a billionaire if they hit all 25 steps. And, the over under of something happening and whether or not you can sports bet onto something has been a meme over time. For those of you on TikTok, you may be seeing the meme of Angel Reese missing her first layup in games. And yes, there might be a bit of humor for that, but there's a little bit of misogyny in that anyway. But regardless, from the gambling perspective, there's a way to bet on everything. And in the sports world, it's become problematic. It's become a part of the culture. Gambling has become normalized for men, and gambling is now going to become normalized for gamers. In many ways, people might say that's not a problem. The demographic has a lot of crossover. The Venn diagram isn't completely separate. It may not be one circle, but the crossover is there. The problem with gambling and gambling sponsors and sports betting in esports is it 100%, undeniably, okay, just really think about it. I don't even need to quote sources on this. It leads to a pipeline for children to get involved in gambling. When a child is watching a Riot Games esports event and they see gambling sponsors on the screen, it is inevitably so that is not a small audience. There are a large amount of underage minors that view esports events, right? And that's fine in many ways based on the game that they're playing and how that broadcast is being brought about. These are the games that they're engaging with. There are many people that are below consent age that play video games, that play online video games, and that is potentially a whole different discussion in and of itself. But inevitably, there are people that play video games that are kids. And these kids are going to be watching these events and be exposed to gambling at another age. Because at this point, with the billions of dollars that have ruined lives, destroyed people and their families and their finances and whole lineages of people because of these gambling losses, and the ways that these gambling organizations and heck, even casinos keep you in, keep you addicted, is so messed up that now we're going to apply that to an impressionable group of people, a group of people that have had no training, that will look at any video about like Andrew Tate and see, yeah, I don't need to go to college. I just need to chase women and buy a course and make money. Whereas, as I've said in previous videos, we have the rich elites still sending their children to college, but then they're making videos convincing you and your children to not go to college. Like, think about that, folks, right? Like, how many of you know someone in your lives or genuinely believe college is useless to you? Because an education that was based on you coming somewhere on time, achieving a goal, meeting marks is important. It teaches responsibility at a base level. It teaches you finances of the world. And yes, you may, that's simply from maybe purchasing textbooks and buying food on a daily basis. And yes, you might have mommy, daddy money, and you might not understand the full scope of what it means to take a multi-$1,000, $10,000, $100,000 loan at such a young age, and the whole predatory system of college loans and how they're funded over time is a whole different discussion. But you do come across a lot of responsibilities when it comes to schooling at that age. But when it comes to high school, when it comes to grade school, there's so many people out there that talk about, and these are all red herrings, by the way, like straight terrible right-wing dog whistles of, if they taught this in school, our schools would be so much better. No, they wouldn't. The people that are saying that are the same people that were cussing out their teacher, not paying attention in class. The same people that did not care then and are now trying to get you to purchase some type of multi-level marketing package and get you involved in their scheme are the same people that are trying to take you down the wrong path here and say that gambling for these things are good. I mean, we already had the great funding and defunding and quote unquote death of esports through the crypto era, when we had the whole Sam Bankman-Fried thing where we had so much money being put into esports through the crypto boom that was also alongside the whole America at home, world at home type of thing that we had during the pandemic. But now with people gradually getting back to the office, touching grass some more, we saw esports take a big dive. And I feel like with this gambling sponsorship with Riot, if it is successful, if we are able to see a lot of money out of it, and if Riot Games is able to make even more money through the manipulation of people right now, then we are only going to see this go on into other games that we play. And this is a Magic the Gathering channel. Magic the Gathering has already been caught with using AI art, AI marketing. There have been so many slip-ups in Wizards of the Coast history. It is not an if, but a when, if Riot succeeds of Wizards of the Coast getting sponsored and their esports being sponsored, TCG esports with, Gundam TCG and Bandai or Riftbound being sponsored by something like the gambling side of things. And of course, Riot Games, League of Legends, all that stuff, like it's already there. Riftbound, I believe at least, is a little bit separate from that. Maybe it's still direct. But the key is that when it comes to gaming, unlike sports betting or kind of gambling at large, where you need to head to casinos and stuff, it was showcased largely as a underground activity. It wasn't that common, right? You would watch media, maybe your favorite sitcom or movies of an underground poker ring, or just an after school, after work poker ring with the guys, dad's going out to play cards in someone's basement or in someone's garage. They might have like a smoke, they might have a drink, whatever, and they're playing, right? And it was more of like an underground thing. Now it's popularized. It's at your fingertips. And with that ease of accessibility now being exposed to kids, and with very easily provable ways where kids are accessing adult material such as prawn and many other just illegal things, or what people would consider to be illegal for kids, the ways they access these things by lying and cheating on the internet, and how the internet just gets away with it. Many websites get away with it by saying, they signed the consent. It's up to the parents, parental controls, blah, blah, blah. With the many ways that kids and minors are able to subvert these firewalls or these blockers that we have up on systems, it's gonna, I'm not going to be surprised when kids at the age of maybe like 11 or 12 are already getting addicted to gambling and these many habits through not even older siblings already that may be involved in sports betting, but also in the culture of esports. Now it's something more accessible. Now it's more at home. You don't need to follow a team long term like that. It is involved already in the game that you're playing. How easy do you think it's going to be to transition this to maybe NBA 2K or MLB or whatever it might be, maybe a high sports ring there? What if it gets largely involved in something like Dota or CSGO and stuff like that? These larger esports that exist out there, obviously the money is there. As I mentioned, gambling companies, especially sports gambling companies, casinos, all that stuff, they make billions of dollars every year off the losses of North Americans. And these are stats that I have just on North America. It might be worse or better, whatever, in other parts of the world, but billions of dollars. And so they have the money to fund these esports organizations to turn $1 to $2 billion per year into potentially $3 to $4 billion of profit by making more money off of people, by kids asking their parents for money to not just buy Roblox, but to buy those Roblox coins, as well as maybe bet on Roblox, bet on other esports, put it onto a digital card and wager that money. And they'll get you in. They give you maybe a free roll every week, every month. And people talk about how, yeah, I just play my free, and eventually you do put money in. I have a friend of mine who is in the gambling thing right now, and a couple of other friends who actually joined in as well. And undoubtedly, I would put money on the fact that the majority of them are negative, are well into the negative. Maybe 1 to 2 of them are potentially positive. They're not spending hundreds of dollars, as far as I'm aware, on it, but they've inevitably gone past the point of the free roll and have put money into it to try and get back more money. And look, I'm not without fault. I've gone to a casino and played my good fair share of blackjack. That is honestly the only game that I play. Many players out there will tell you and talk to you about how, it is possible to make some amount of money on blackjack. And sure, I've made some amount of money on it. Do I put hundreds of dollars into it? No, because I have a stop for myself. I'm a unique minority. What seems like in this world, if I put in $100, if I lose $100, I'm out. I'm not going back and putting in more money. I do feel bad about it though. And that's where I feel personally about this, where I understand the feeling of it. When I lose that money, it feels awful. I feel like I've wasted my time. I've wasted my money. This is my hard-earned money that I've spent a couple of hours to get that $100. And now I have to work more to get it back. That's money I'm never getting back whatsoever. I can't say sorry and the casino's going to give it back to me like many kids. Kids are wired where, in school with their families and everything, if you speak it out, if you have these conversations, if you are open and honest, these are the things that we're trying to teach our kids now. You can find resolve in things. But gambling, losing money, and taking risks like this is a thankless thing. It is not good for kids. It is not something that is forgiving at all. It is predatory. It is manipulative. It is malicious in how it takes your money, takes your emotional regulation, and just wipes it to the ground. I think many of you may know someone or have experienced it yourself, someone that has fallen trapped to this, has fallen trapped to buying more things, the FOMO. In many ways, it's related to gambling. And ultimately, this video, the point of it is to just highlight my fear as to how this gambling is going to lead to the kind of recruitment of kids into a gambling addiction, which is the ultimate line. Like if many things haven't already happened for us to be involved in some type of never getting back from humanity's going downhill, the heat waves that are going around all over the world right now in North America, if that wasn't already a sign of, the whole global warming part of things, and many people in my comments are going to tell me, oh, global warming hack. People are already mad that I mentioned the whole right-wing hack side of things. Screw off. I'm left as it can be, right? Well, I may not be a little extreme. I'm not, the whole horseshoe thing, right? I may not be all the way down there, but regardless, when it comes to manipulating kids, we are letting it go too far. We had the whole funny haha a couple months ago with Vitaly and them, where we had a group of creators that were going up to beat up the kid lovers, the P-files and all that stuff, going up to beat them up. And in many ways, that was a really crappy thing to do. We had a laugh. We're like, oh, the worst parts of human society, they deserve this. But then it leads to this slippery slope of an eye for an eye and all that stuff. And where do we stop this, right? Because it's just bad people justifying assault on other people, right? It's like we're using the worst type of people to handle the other worst type of people. It's like how we have laws against illegal prison labor, right? Like if you go to prison, we hope for rehabilitation, not for you to be used and whatnot. And the people that are in prison and everything, it's a whole other discussion about that. But lives are already being lost in a legal sense. People are losing tens of thousands of dollars, their mortgages, their families, their kids, everything to gambling addiction. And people that have no control of this situation are being manipulated outside of them. And in many ways, when it comes to gambling, they're all like the people involved in that are already losing money to a situation that they have no control over. They have no control over whether or not a team wins or not. You can bet your odds against it. Yeah, but ultimately, just like with the rest of the world, if you subscribe to a level of science where everything is stochastic, everything is inherently random, there is no true fate. And the things that happen in the world, the bad things that happen in the world are just because that's the way the world is. There is no compensation for that. If you believe that, then the negative thing is going to happen. You can lose all that money. And so you are affecting yourself and everyone around you. You are making that 1% more rich, and you are somehow getting those like random internet losers that actually believe, oh, the billionaires that work to get their money, they deserve that money. They deserve to be billionaires. The bootlickers, the people that just are too far gone and it's not worth having conversations with. It's like your parent at 70 that is racist as hell. Like if they can choose to learn one thing, they can choose to learn how to use the TV remote. It's all the hypocrisy that exists in the world, and it's worsened in a small way, in the small portion, by gambling in gaming. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This has been my mini rant on it. It's just kind of an exploration of thoughts that I have and just bringing about a little bit of a voice to this. I feel like it's kind of slipped under the radar. A lot of big creators talked about it, but especially when it comes to our small world of Magic the Gathering, I feel like with many kids that engage with gaming and Magic the Gathering, the gambling side of things is going to be only worse as a way to attract kids into something that they have no control over. Adults with lives and teaching and education aren't even able to control things like this. How can a kid do that? How can we save our youth? How can we actually make the world a better place? How can we move past our biases? Who knows? Because right now, it doesn't seem like we're able to do so at all. Because even when it comes to capitalism and the way we spend our money, with the buy now, play later, how we can Klarna our Subway sandwich, it always feels like we're spending money on things we don't need with money we don't have for people we don't like, right? We buy things and food that we don't really need because our brain might be addicted to high salt and high flavor dense food, which might relate to my whole anti-Italian thing in the beginning. To then, be addicted to that food and spend money we don't have through our credit cards to impress other people we don't like. Post about how we had a sandwich and how we potentially are up. We're great. We're doing well. And showcase that all over the internet. There's so many fundamental problems with the world right now. There's so much crap happening. The last thing we need is the youth, the future of our world, to already be destroyed without even having a chance because of gambling.